Now, in recent years, Singapore has been promoting public and other forms of transport, reducing reliance on the car. And this comes even as the city-state grapples with an aging rail network.
Well, tonight we explore this drive towards a car-light society and what's being done to encourage Singaporeans to take their foot off the gas and onto a bike pedal. Our transport reporter Kenneth Lim with more.
These twin sisters jumped on the cycling bandwagon about 5 years ago. One of them has since made cycling a constant in her life.
I joined the Sunday group and go more cycling around Singapore. I travel, go tour with my bicycle also.
But the other hasn't caught on just yet.
I don't cycle much mainly because of the traffic. I usually go on the bus lane because bus lane allows bicycles. But it's not nice to occupy the bus lane when a lot of so-called the buses are behind me.
Still, both are in tandem when it comes to what they like to see, to get more cyclists on the road and Park Connector Networks, or PCN.
I first started with a fear of cycling on the road because of Singapore road is so congested. And even now, although I ride every day to work, but I start early before the traffic goes heavy. I would like to have more PCN along the road instead of going through the park or all this. Like now what they have at Ang Mo Kio or even Tampines.
Ang Mo Kio is of course Singapore's first walking and cycling town, launched in July this year. This 4-kilometer path, for example, takes residents to nearby amenities like the MRT station.
Now, once the cycling network here is completed by 2019, it will be the longest of any town, giving cyclists a direct route to the city. But beyond that, authorities also say that every HDB town will have its own cycling network by 2030, including new HDB precincts and BTO projects. Now, the overall aim, of course, is to reduce the number of cars here in Landscar, Singapore. And one way to do so is by making it easier to get around by bicycle.
What we hope to see is really over the next 10 to 15 years, to see an increase in terms of uptake. Today it's about 1.5% of people who cycle in Singapore, so we hope to grow that about 3 to 4 times.
Besides launching more cycling networks, Singapore will also join the ranks of cycling cities like New York and London next year, with its first ever bicycle sharing program. Many people have also started to use personal mobility devices. In December, for the very first time, commuters could take their devices on board trains and buses during peak hours. This was part of a 6-month trial. Since then, LTA says it's seen 10 to 15 people do so at each station every day. From this year, authorities have also laid out the ground rules for their use.
Beyond the numbers itself is where we really hope to see a change in terms of people's openness to these active modes. So in the medium to long term, you would regard cycling or walking or using these personal mobility devices as something that is as commonplace as hopping on a bus or on a train.
Besides making it easier to walk and cycle, one researcher says Singapore's climate has to be taken into account.
At the end of the day, it also means that it's not just mere statistics that we say that 80% is within 10 minutes walk or households are within 10 minutes walk. We need to ensure walking is good, comfortable. That should be able to attract someone on the sideline desiring whether to own a car, to purchase a car, or to take public transport. So if we make public transport really attractive, I think we could wean off some of this desire.
LTA says it aims to build about 150 kilometers more sheltered walkways by 2018. And from July this year, commercial developers must submit their plans complete with shelters and crossings for cyclists and pedestrians. But Mr. Low also says that it's one thing to make public transport more attractive. More steps are needed for Singapore to go Car-Lite.
We need to still, I believe, have the other aspect, the other element of vehicle restraint. I don't think we can move away from that.
Singapore was amongst the first cities to adopt vehicle restraint measures like road pricing and auctions for car quotas. Public car park rates have risen this year for the first time in 14 years. Mr. Low said such policies are likely to continue. But as many in the transport sector say, Car-Lite doesn't mean carless. Shared cars will still play a part in getting people from point to point. To that end, Singapore's first large-scale electric car sharing program will be launched next year. Private hire companies have also come out with similar schemes. But ultimately, most say Singapore's efforts will succeed if everyone takes that first step to shift their travelling habits and go Car-Lite.